My twin sister didn't just steal my fiancé the night before our wedding 10 years ago. She legally stole my entire identity, my social security number, and my inheritance. She left me with nothing. No credit score, no bank account, and a police record for a fraud I never committed. 10 years later, she walked into my corporate boardroom holding a bankruptcy notice, begging me, her new boss, for a multi-million-dollar bailout. She had no idea who was sitting behind that mahogany desk. My name is Maya, though for a long time, the legal system thought my name was Chloe. Growing up, Chloe and I looked identical on the outside, but underneath the skin, we were entirely different universes. I was the quiet one, the one who buried herself in books, built a career from scratch, and saved every penny. Chloe was the storm. Charismatic, reckless, and pathologically jealous of anything that wasn't centered entirely around her. If I bought a new sweater, she would borrow it and accidentally ruin it. If I brought home a test with an A+, she'd cry until our parents comforted her for feeling inadequate. I thought we would grow out of it. I was wrong. When I was 24, I met David. He was kind, grounded, and loved me for the quiet, steady person I was. We dated for 3 years, got engaged, and spent 12 months planning a small, beautiful wedding. Chloe was my maid of honor, or at least, she was supposed to be. 2 days before the wedding, I went to our local bank to finalize a joint cashier's check for the venue. The teller looked at my ID, looked at me, and frowned. She pressed a silent alarm under her desk. Within 5 minutes, 2 security guards and a branch manager were standing in front of me, looking at me like I was a criminal. "Ma'am, I'm going to need you to step away from the counter," the manager said, his voice ice cold. They told me my account had been drained of its entire balance. $24,000 in wedding savings. 20 minutes earlier by a woman holding my passport and my social security card. When I insisted I was right there, they pointed to the security footage on the monitor. It was me. Or rather, it was Chloe, wearing my exact jacket, carrying my exact purse, and speaking with my voice. By the time I rushed back to our apartment, my clothes were gone, my birth certificate was missing, and my phone was dead. When I tried to call David, his number went straight to voicemail. When I went to his house, his parents answered the door looking at me with pure disgust. "David doesn't want to see you," his mother said, her arms crossed tightly over her chest. "After what you did, emptying the accounts, cleaning out his savings, and running off with that other guy, we never want you near our son again. He's marrying Chloe tomorrow. At least she has a moral compass." I stood on their porch in the pouring rain, completely hollowed out. Chloe hadn't just stolen my money. She had rewritten the narrative. She had convinced David and his family that I was unstable, that I was the one who had cleared the accounts and fled, and that she, the loving, devoted sister, had stepped in to save David from financial ruin and heartbreak. The police wouldn't help me. Because we were identical twins and she had my physical documents, it was treated as a civil family dispute. I spent the next 6 months living out of my car, sleeping on shelter cots, and fighting a nightmare of identity theft that nearly broke me completely. My credit was destroyed. My name was dragged through the mud. David and Chloe got married in the ceremony I had planned, funded by the money I had saved. I could have curled up and let it defeat me. For a few months, I thought about it. I sat in my car in a Walmart parking lot, wondering how a person survives having their entire existence erased by the one person who shared a womb with them. Then the grief turned into something sharp and cold. Survival. I changed my legal name entirely. I worked 3 jobs, cleaning offices at night, answering phones at a call center by day, and studying data analytics during my lunch breaks. I fought the legal battles in court slowly, methodically, spending every spare dollar on a lawyer who actually believed me. It took 5 years to clear my name of the fraudulent charges Chloe had pinned on me, and another 3 years to claw my way into the corporate world. I didn't just rebuild my life, I built an empire. By 34, I was the senior vice president of acquisitions for Horizon Capital, a powerhouse investment firm in Chicago. I had a penthouse apartment overlooking the lake, a brilliant team that respected me, and a peace of mind that no one could ever steal again. And then came Tuesday. My assistant, Sarah, walked into my office with a folder tucked under her arm. "Maya, the restructuring meeting for the retail acquisition is ready. The CEO of the failing firm is here with her delegation. They're desperate for this buyout, otherwise they're facing total liquidation. Send them in," I said, not looking up from my tablet. The heavy oak doors swung open. 3 people walked into the conference room. I kept my eyes fixed on the financial spreadsheets until Sarah gestured for me to introduce myself. I stood up, smoothed down the lapels of my tailored charcoal blazer, and raised my eyes to meet the desperate founders of the collapsing company. The breath caught in my throat, but I didn't flinch. Standing across the table, looking older, worn down, and visibly panicked, was Chloe. Beside her was a man with thinning hair, a sagging stomach, and tired, lifeless eyes. David. They didn't recognize me. Why would they? Maya from 10 years ago, broken, exhausted, wearing cheap clothes from a thrift store, did not exist anymore. I had dyed my hair a deep, sleek espresso, wore high-end designer frames, and carried myself with the absolute authority of a woman who owned the room. Chloe looked like a woman holding together a house of cards with scotch tape. Her designer handbag was scuffed, her hands were trembling, and her eyes darted around my office as if she were looking for an emergency exit. "Please," Chloe said, her voice shaking slightly as she sat down and opened her presentation binder. "Thank you for taking this meeting, Miss." "I'm sorry, I didn't catch your last name." "It's Vance," I said, my voice completely steady, smooth as glass. "Maya Vance." David flinched slightly at the name, a brief flicker of memory crossing his eyes, but he dismissed it instantly. People like David never expected a ghost to come back. "Miss Vance," Chloe began, launching into her rehearsed pitch. "Our retail chain has hit a temporary liquidity crisis. We just need a bridge loan of $4 million to stabilize our inventory. If Horizon Capital acquires a 30% stake, I promise you, within 2 years." "Stop right there, Mrs. Miller," I interrupted, leaning back in my chair and resting my hands on the table. Chloe blinked, surprised by the interruption. "I'm sorry? Your financial projections are fraudulent," I said calmly. I slid a printed document across the mahogany table toward her. "Your stores haven't turned a profit in 3 years. You've been embezzling from your own corporate accounts to cover personal debts, and your credit rating is sitting squarely in the mid-50s. David went pale. Chloe's mouth dropped open. "How? How could you possibly know that?" Chloe stammered, her professional mask instantly shattering. "We didn't submit those audits." "Because I do my homework," I said, standing up slowly and walking around the table until I was standing right behind my chair, looking down at them. "I don't invest in sinking ships, Chloe. And I certainly don't bail out thieves." The moment I used her name, the temperature in the room plummeted. Chloe froze. She stared up at me, her eyes scanning my face. The curve of my jaw, the shape of my eyes, the slight scar on my left knuckle from a kitchen accident when we were 12. "Maya?" she whispered, the color draining entirely from her face until she looked like a corpse. David whipped his head back and forth between us, looking like a man trapped in a waking nightmare. "Maya? No. Maya is... That's impossible. Maya disappeared 10 years ago." "I didn't disappear, David," I said, walking slowly around the table until I was standing directly behind Chloe's chair. I leaned down, lowering my voice so only the two of them could hear. "You and my dear sister made sure I had nowhere to stay, so I had to go out and build a real life. Unlike the one you two built on a foundation of stolen credit cards and stolen identities," Chloe burst into immediate tears. The exact same theatrical, manipulative sobbing she used when we were kids. "Maya, please! You have to help us! Everything is gone!" "The business is failing. The house is in foreclosure. David hasn't worked a real job in years, and we have 2 kids. Don't talk to me about kids, and don't talk to me about losing everything." I snapped, my voice dropping an octave, sharp enough to cut glass. The sheer authority in my tone made both of them shrink back into their chairs. 10 years ago, I stood on your porch in the freezing rain with nothing but the clothes on my back because you two decided to erase me. You thought you won. You thought you could bury me, steal my inheritance, and play happy family on my dime. "We were young!" David blurted out, sweating profusely, trying to salvage some shred of dignity. "Chloe said you were unstable. She told us you ran off with someone else. And you believed her because it was easier than looking in the mirror and realizing you were marrying a parasite," I said, turning my gaze to him. "Look at you now, David. Look at what your moral compass bought you." Chloe grabbed the edge of the table, her fingernails digging into the wood. "Please, Maya, we're family. We share blood. Can't you find it in your heart to forgive us? Just a loan. Just enough to save our home?" I looked down at her, at the woman who had stolen my wedding, my money, my name, and my peace of mind. For 10 years, I had dreamed of this moment. I had imagined screaming at her, calling the police, destroying her the way she destroyed me. Instead, I felt a profound, heavy wave of pity. "Family?" I asked quietly. "You stopped being my family the day you stole my life, Chloe. And as for forgiveness, forgiveness isn't something I hand out to people who haven't spent a single second earning it. You didn't come here to make amends. You came here because you ran out of people to steal from, and you thought you could manipulate me one last time." I straightened my jacket and turned toward the boardroom doors. "Security," I said clearly. The doors opened instantly. 2 large security guards stepped inside. "Escort these 2 off the premises immediately. Ensure they are blacklisted from entering any Horizon Capital building nationwide." "Maya, no! You can't do this!" Chloe screamed, standing up and lunging forward, but the guards caught her arms easily, pulling her back toward the exit. David scrambled out of his chair, muttering curses under his breath, looking completely defeated as he dragged his wife toward the door. As they hauled her out, Chloe looked back at me one last time, her mascara running down her cheeks, her face twisted in absolute desperation, but I didn't look away. I held my ground, standing tall, completely unshakable. The heavy doors clicked shut, sealing them out of my life for good. I stood alone in the quiet boardroom for a moment, listening to the soft hum of the air conditioning. My heart wasn't racing. My hands weren't shaking. For the first time in 10 years, the ghost of that rainy night on their porch finally let go of me. I walked back to my desk, picked up my tablet, and looked at the Chicago skyline outside my window. The sun was setting, painting the sky in brilliant shades of gold and amber. They thought they had buried me 10 years ago. They didn't realize I was a seed. Hey everyone, thank you so much for reading this story. It's a heavy one, but it's a reminder that no matter how hard people try to tear you down or steal your life, your strength comes from within. If you've ever had to rebuild your life from the ground up, let me know in the comments below. I read every single one of your messages. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you never miss a new story. Stay strong, and I'll see you in the next one.